Welcome back. Today I'm going to tell you a story about how a welfare check actually costed a young man his life. So let's get into it. So this story takes place in Phoenix, Arizona. Richie and his father, Larry Carver, lived with Ryan and his girlfriend Heather until Richie started making unwanted advances towards Heather, which angered Ryan, and Ryan literally kicked them both out of the house. And because of that, Richie and Larry began plotting their payback. So on December 23rd, 2006, 2 days before Christmas, Ryan and Heather were just chilling in their home. They were looking forward to their planned family dinner 2 days from then, on Christmas Day, when out of the blue, Richie and Larry knocked on their door and forced their way into the home. Once Richie got his arm inside the door, he used his gun and shot Ryan in the face 2 times. One bullet went through the right side of his nose and out the left side of his nose, and then it actually went under Ryan's eye and it got stuck in his brain. Pieces of his skull were actually in his brain as well. The second shot, the second bullet, did not penetrate into his brain. With Ryan incapacitated, Richie and Larry went up to Heather and shot her point blank in the head, which killed her. Then Richie and Larry stole some of Ryan's weapons and computer hardware and just left the home. They closed the door behind them. But what they would not expect was that Ryan was actually not dead. Miraculously, Ryan woke up from his injuries, but he was so disoriented and his mind was pretty much blank that he was just walking around in his home, not knowing what was going on. Every time he would see his girlfriend on the couch, he would think that she was just taking a nap. And this actually went on for 2 days until Christmas Day. So on Christmas Day, December 25th, 2006, Don Waller, which was Ryan's dad, wanted a welfare check on his son Ryan and his girlfriend Heather because they have not been responding to any phone calls, they have not showed up at their home, so he wanted to check on his son. At 11 p.m., police arrived at Ryan's door and they knocked on the door, and Ryan slowly opened the door and actually answered. Police immediately noticed the injuries on Ryan's face and they were asking him how he got it, but Ryan just said, "I don't really know. I don't know how I got those injuries." And before the police could even finish asking more questions, they noticed somewhere in the background that there was a young woman lying on the couch. Police then asked Ryan who that was, and Ryan just said, "Oh yeah, that's my girlfriend, and she's been sleeping for 2 days." And so they went to check on her, and indeed that was Heather, and the police found out that she was dead. With that, Ryan became the prime suspect of this murder, and they put him in the back of the police vehicle and he waited there for a couple of hours. Then the police took Ryan to Phoenix Police Station where they began their interrogation, but the interrogation did not start until a few hours after that, meaning that after the welfare check, Ryan had the bullet in his head for hours and he still had not had any medical attention. So during the interrogation, Officer Paul Dalton read Ryan his rights, to which Ryan did not know what they were because he was so disoriented. Officer Dalton also asked Ryan if he had ever seen any cop shows on TV, and Ryan just said no. From time to time, Officer Dalton would ask Ryan about how he got his injuries. Eventually, Ryan would say that he was shot in the face. But to Officer Dalton's disbelief, he said there was no way that Ryan would be sitting there talking to him if he were to be shot in the face. Officer Dalton then brought up Ryan's girlfriend Heather and told him that she was actually dead on his couch. After hearing this, Ryan seemed very agitated and actually told Officer Dalton that 2 people actually came inside of his home and their names were Richie and his dad Larry. He also told Officer Dalton that Richie and Larry had bows and arrows. The interrogation went on for a little bit longer, and Ryan's story was just filled with holes and contradictions because he was so disoriented that Officer Dalton did not even buy into anything that he was saying. And from time to time, Ryan would bring up that his head was really hurting. Altogether, the interrogation lasted 2 hours. So it lasted until about 6 a.m. So from 11 p.m., which was when the officers knocked on Ryan's door, to 6 a.m., which was 7 hours later, Ryan never had any medical help. So at around 6 a.m., Officer Dalton actually went up to Ryan's face, closer to his face, and took a look at his injuries, and that's when he finally discovered that Ryan was actually shot in the face. And with that, immediately Ryan was rushed to the hospital to undergo surgery. The surgeons found the bullet that was lodged inside of Ryan's brain, and they had to remove the bullet and as well as a section of Ryan's brain. Eventually, Ryan's left eye also had to be removed, and now he's blind on one eye. There were reports that Ryan was blind on both eyes because of some infection, but nonetheless, because of this injury and the lack of medical attention, Ryan actually became incapable of self-care, and his parents actually became his primary caretaker. Ryan would live about 10 more years until a seizure directly related from this brain injury took his life. Both Richie and his father, Larry, were sentenced to life in prison without a possibility of parole, and there was no reports of any lawsuit from the Waller family against the Phoenix police. Thank you all for watching this short story. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, don't forget to like and subscribe.